Hello, my name is Brianna Williams, and today I will be presenting the findings of my research study titled, How the Use of Social Media by Musicians Affects the Continued Support of Their Fans. So, social media and music kind of go hand in hand. According to a study done by Click, Lee, and Holiday, music fans like direct interactions through social media because they feel noticed and they feel like they have an established personal relationship with their favorite musicians. It's more than just a fan-band interaction, something special. Fans like to feel like they really know their favorite artists and know their life, not just the music that they put out and what they do on stage, and seem to be more inclined to support them with that special kind of connection that they have. This study was created to discover if music fans' support of bands has a correlation with social media interactions. This study aimed to answer 3 different research questions. Number 1 is, how does social media affect the level of support fans offer different bands and musicians? 2, what types of social media interactions cause different fan reactions? 3, how does the social media presentation of bands affect fans purchasing their merchandise? For my method, social media can be seen as good or bad from a follower's standpoint in the music industry. To begin, information to participate in this study was distributed through text message and through social media. Once participants responded, consent forms were emailed and sent back to me with their signatures. Then, dates and times were set up for each participant to do an individual phone interview. Each participant was asked the same questions with slight variations to each question for each interview due to the different flows of conversation. For my sample, I originally chose to have a targeted age range of 20 to 30 years old. With my sample being small, it ranged 21 to 24 years old. 2 participants were aged 21, 1 was aged 22, 1 aged 23, and 1 aged 24. 3 participants identified as female and 2 identified as male. As for my procedure, data collection began with informing individuals of the opportunity to participate in this study. Interested participants were then given an informed consent form, and explained their rights in regards to this study. Participants were informed that the interviews would be audio recorded and the recordings would be destroyed after the study was complete. Participants were asked a series of open-ended and multiple-choice questions designed to be very conversational, so they kind of changed during each interview. Some examples of questions that were asked were things such as what they like and don't like to see from musicians on social media, if interacting with musicians at shows and on social media influence them to purchase merchandise, and how social media promotion of music affects if fans want to purchase their music. The general idea of these questions came from a research study done by Bevan Law in 2007. Each question came with a different follow-up question based on the participant's response. And then once completed, all interviews were transcribed for data collection and analysis only. As far as my analysis and results go, the goal of this study was to find commonalities in participant responses to determine if social media has a useful effect in the music industry. It was commonly found that participants stream music more rather than purchasing physical copies. A 23-year-old male respondent said, "I do a lot of streaming of music. I have Apple Music. I don't really buy a lot of physical copies. I did buy a physical copy of the most recent Low Fag CD, but that's because it came with the shirt I bought." Social media users want to be entertained, no matter where the content is coming from. Physical CDs are becoming more unpopular with people. And according to a 22-year-old female participant, "I don't have a CD player, my car doesn't have a CD player, there's no point in me buying CDs." Every participant responded, saying that they prefer streaming music over carrying around CDs because it's much easier to switch a song, switch an album, search for a song on your smartphone or other listening device rather than carrying around a CD holder that could weigh however much with however many CDs you have rather than your small phone. Many participants responded, saying they appreciate social media reminders of new music and merchandise, but do not like being constantly bombarded with promotional post. Every 5 seconds there's the same post or a similar post for the same song, the same video, a CD, a shirt that they've seen 1,000 times and they just don't want to see it. They like to see more from bands than just advertisements. They want to see their lives, their tour stories, their behind the scenes of the stage, not just what they're promoting. A 22-year-old female responded, "I like them to tell me that they released a video, but I don't want you to tell me about it every single day, 6 times a day. I don't want too much, I want just enough to remind me once, and that's all I need. I feel kind of like it's just too much and you're shoving it down my throat, and I don't want it." The way these promotions are produced and released did not matter much to participants so long as they weren't too frequent. Participants didn't really care about the production value, how flashy and things their promotions were, just that the information was given out and that it wasn't given out too often. The 22-year-old female respondent had to say, "Personally, I wouldn't even know if they released something if it wasn't posted on social media, but not so much specifically how they do it." Clothing and other merchandise are essential for musicians on smaller levels to make money, so it's important to note what drives fans to make these purchases. Money made from merchandise sales often goes towards things such as filling their gas tanks, buying food, paying off equipment fees, paying off recording fees. And the most popular response to whether participants were more likely to purchase merchandise from a popular big-name artist at a big concert where it doesn't matter if you buy a shirt, rather than a smaller, more local artist, was that they were more likely to purchase from the smaller local artists because they felt like they were more deserving of the purchases, because those larger bands would survive if a few people didn't buy a shirt. However, these smaller bands really need every single purchase. They're also more likely to purchase merchandise if the artists interacted with them at concerts. Respondents said that they really appreciated when musicians would come out in the crowd and watch the other acts, or if they got to meet them in a meet and greet, and it was a real solid interaction and not just something down a bread line. A quote from a 22-year-old female said, "I went to a show a couple weeks ago and I went up to the merch table to grab a shirt, and I ended up buying a shirt and a hat because the guy was he was super nice. He said, 'Hey, I'll give you a discount because you've been talking to me for so long,' and we're both holding up the line." So, just that interaction there caused me to spend more money than I should have, but it definitely influenced my decision. As far as limitations go, for some unforeseen circumstances, I was unable to conduct my originally planned focus group. I was hoping to get a large group of people together one time, or several separate large groups, however it kind of happened, to have them all interact with each other, share their own stories, their experiences, bounce ideas off of each other to really get as much detail out of each response as possible. I felt that in a focus group, participants would be much more comfortable because they were talking to other people who maybe had the same interactions as them, or maybe even different, but were open to hearing about them. But instead, I had to conduct individual phone interviews. However, this was nice because each person didn't have to worry about what someone else may think. It was all about them and their own interactions and their own opinions, but I did feel like it was a little bit limited on responses. Also, my sample was a little bit smaller than originally planned, but due to unforeseen circumstances again, I was unable to get as large of a group as possible. I had only 5 responses. I originally planned to have about 10, so if I were to conduct this research again, I would hope to have a larger sample, because although I don't feel like my small sample really affected my results and negatively, I do feel as if a larger sample would give me just more results, more detail, and a better look into the view of fans in social media. So to conclude, this research to me proved that social media is big for music fans, and it is very important for them to have established connections with artists, in that they will want to go to the shows more, they will feel more important, they'll feel more into the music, and they will just enjoy it more, and these artists will continue to grow and have more support. Thank you.